What's up, everybody? Welcome back to this old trike. Today, we're going to build a 70. Okay, if you've been watching my videos this spring, you've seen that I've torn down 4 70s. One was my daughter's Pink Palomino. One was an 85. One was a 78, and one was an 81. So I've brought those all to powder coat. That was in a previous video. Me and my son did a bunch of work to prep the frames. Some of them had a 3-inch stretch, like this one. One of them was stock, but all of them are going to be a little bit different. And this was the first one that came back from powder. So obviously this is red, not the standard black. This is going to be a custom 70 build that is going to mimic my 85 250R that I've owned since high school. Well, what's that look like? Well, if you've watched the last few videos from Glamis, you'll know it's this beauty. So it's still got the rear wheels and hubs flipped around. That's how we transport it. I haven't got the paddles off yet. But I finished this one up last spring. It's got carbon fiber looking Meyer fenders on it. I'm not trying to mimic an 87 250R with this. This is one that I've owned since 1997 when I was in high school. I did a cheap resto on it then with white Meyer fenders, and now I've done a more extensive resto. So you've seen those videos, I'm sure. But now it's going to get a little mini-me. So what are the things it's going to get? Well, I've learned a lot about these custom 70s. I'm sure there's a lot I haven't learned. But when I did the Pink Palomino, I did that one on the cheap. I did it quickly. It was rattle can. It wasn't powder coat, and that's why that got torn down to be done a little bit nicer for my daughter. And I've learned of different people out there that supply cool parts, and I want to tell you about them as I start to pick through this pile of goodies. Like I said, this is an 85 frame. My buddy Mike Wood at Capital Region Customs just did the powder coating work for me. He powder coated this gas tank. That's an Ape gas tank. You can find those on eBay. They're not as much as you might think. And to run those, you really need to do a 3-inch stretch because things won't fit exactly right. And I've mentioned that in previous videos. That is actually the tank that was on my daughter's Pink Palomino. I got her a new one. I'm sure it's because it was China quality. It was starting to rust on the seam, so by refinishing this one, it fixed that problem, and I'll do better on hers to try to seal up that seam. Anyway, I have spent a whole bunch of money with Gordon Spangler, Honda ATC70.com. Be sure to check there first for all your ATC 70 goodies. You can waste a lot of time trying to find things elsewhere. He is a one-stop shop for pretty much everything. I got a 140 Piranha motor from Gordon. Exhaust, foot pegs. I got the billet hubs, front and back. I got the chain protector. We're going to run a... Nope, where's it? We're going to run a sprocket on a billet sprocket hub for that. JJ's Machine hooked me up with a rear hydraulic brake setup, so that will look cool. Since we're mimicking a 85 250R, it's going to be cool to have all those goodies out at the back. So that's got a foot brake, no lever on the bars, ATD ATC grab bar, because that's what's on my other machine. So Craig and Chelsea hooked me up with a desert style aluminum grab bar to match my machine in there. Cascade Seats hooked me up with this awesome seat. So instead of 250R, it's a 140R with a custom bar pad. So I'm stoked about that. I don't have the decals to show because I was last minute getting Bruce at Blue Line Decals my order. But he's coming through. They will be here before the end of the week because this machine needs to be together in less than 7 days. It will be unveiled at my local dealership's second annual ATV and three-wheeler vintage show that I'm helping them run to some extent. I don't know what all that means, but this will be unveiled there next to my other machine. I got aluminum Douglas wheels with some just kind of standard knobby tires. That's a eBay deal that pops up every so often, so I pounced on that. Lee Brunskill from the UK. I got a number of these from him, and that one I powdered red. Each of the machines is going to get one of those. So this is the first of the 70 builds that we're going to do. Oh, and I didn't mention Jacob Rowe, Backroad Speed and Design, front forks, so it'll be suspended in the front. He has awesome products, billet, top and bottom triple. That's the axle, so it'll have that blue to match kind of, or play into the fork boot sort of look. So it'll be red, white, and blue. Blue seat, red tank, white fenders. I'm going to put this headlight on it because I had it. We'll see if we can clean it up a little bit before we do. So it should look like a little mini 250R. I'd like to think I can knock this out before dinner time, but if you know me, I am slow as molasses, so we'll see. We're going to try to not make this a multi-video series if I play my cards right. Except for decals, this should be pretty much ready by tomorrow, and you should see it on a YouTube channel near you. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm thinking what my plan is going to be, and I think what makes sense to me is to get this into a roller and then put the motor in, get the wiring harness on, and just go from there. There's not a lot to these, so I don't think it's going to take a long time, but that's usually where I go way wrong and it takes forever. So I'm going to start by getting the axle in, and then we'll tackle the forks. And I'm, as usual, moving at a snail's pace. I've just got it mocked up into a roller. Digging the stance, digging the look. I'm very excited. So I've pulled the engine out of the bag. I've got the wiring harness. I got the intake, throttle. I'm just dragging other pieces over that I know are going to be going on. It's going to go quick, I think, at this point. So I'm going to feed the wiring harness in its rough location, try to figure out what the heck's going on. I'm going to run it through the inside because I drilled a hole and I've run a grommet right there to pop out to where the battery box will hang. And we'll see how it goes. I'm trying not to have a mess of zip ties, you know, tucked up under the tank. But let's keep going. Okay, it is the next day, and yesterday I made a little more progress that I didn't really catch you up on. I got the motor kind of mocked up into position. At one point I had it hanging there. As you recall, if you saw the prep videos, I drilled a hole and I'm running the wiring through a grommet there in an effort just to keep things clean. And I'm realizing a lot of the connections are going to be inside the tunnel, if you will, of the frame. And I can't make them with the motor hanging from its motor mount. So we're playing this game right now. And I'm sipping on some coffee in my Blue Line Decals, Blue Line Graphics mug. Get all your decals from Bruce over at Blue Line. And it's really helping me figure out the wiring situation. So got all my motor and a lot of things from Spangler's. He has some wiring diagrams that I'm referencing. I was studying them last night. So you end up with a bunch of these off the flywheel. So I've got some good direction now that I feel like I can keep moving. I'm going to be running the key switch. I'm not going to be using this switch. I've got a different starter button and I've got a different kill switch button. So we'll use this to tell us which connections are start and kill on the wiring harness, and I'll probably harvest these connections off of this to run wires to the buttons that I'm going to use and play things that way. But got your CDI, got your coil over here. What else we got? Regulator somewhere. I put the chemicals in my battery yesterday. It said to give that 20 minutes. It's been about, I don't know, 14 hours, so that should be good. I'll cap those off and we're going to get to work. So stay tuned. The goal and the plan is to have this into a complete machine minus decals. And I don't know if you caught this, I didn't put the bearing seals in. I wanted to get this mocked up and I forgot to order bearings and bearing seals. My local dealer had bearings. I put them in before I really started filming, just so that didn't stand out, but they'll be in before the end of the week, so we'll be able to have this finished before next weekend. But we want to see it in a nice, mostly complete fashion by the end of the day. So stay tuned for that. The motor is in the frame, just kind of hanging there, only one bolt. Been messing with the electric. Had to put a call into my buddy Rex Slaughter, see what he knew. Hate to bother people on Sunday, but we got it figured out. I got spark. I had to put an extension into these wires because everything's hidden back in there and coming through a hole in the side. That's where we landed. But now I've got my intake out. I'm going to pull out this carburetor and do some test fits on this. I've got a uni filter sitting over there to pop on, see how it all comes together. Cable, throttle cable somewhere. I don't think I ordered grips for this, so I'll have to put an order in tomorrow morning, get them on the way. We're not going to finish today, but I would like to hear it run. So I should, let's see. There's no fuel to it, but it should. Oh yeah. So we're good. we're good in that regard. I'm going to keep moving, and we'll keep you posted. Stay tuned. So this motor's got my wife's initials on it, but this is not for her. This is Daddy's. So we're not done. We're at a nice stopping point, and we're going to call it for the night, call it for the weekend. I have not hooked up gas to the carb from this tank because the tank has some sand in it from my powder coaters, so I got to flush that a few more times. I don't have the fenders bolted on. You can see I got a paper towel there just protecting it. I didn't put the back brake on because I have not put the dust seals in on the bearings because of negligence when ordering parts. Speaking of parts I need to order, grips, decals are on the way. I haven't put the chain on or the cover or the foot pegs or the chain. Did I say that? But everything is good enough to do this. I do need to swap my hidden button that I'm going to put on. She does run. Special thanks to Rex Slaughter and Gordon Spangler for answering my Sunday afternoon cry for help when it came to wiring. All my wiring is tucked in there. I need to get it secured a little bit better. And once I figure out where my switch is going to go, I'll do that. Oh, you can't see anything over here. But everything goes up the tunnel, as I've been calling it. And you can't see it from this angle because we've got that put in. The battery box is tidy. That's not centered. You can't hardly see where the wires go into the frame. So yeah, this will go away. As much as we love Jesse Meyer, thank you for making awesome products. I am going to peel that sticker off. I've got a mini R decal that's going to go there. We'll peel this off the front and put our decal on the front. That's where we're going to leave it. Stay tuned for the conclusion and what will likely be a tour of the show that we're bringing this to next weekend. Thanks for everybody that helped me with parts, that provided. I think I've given all the shout outs that I need to. And we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned.